This is Maureen Cedro, bereavement counselor for Excela Health Hospice. I would like to invite you to sit with me for a few minutes as I offer you some information, some education, some understanding, and hopefully some comfort. Today, I'd like to share with you some information about the grief of very young children. Children are innocent and, for a time, untouched by the realities of life. They are able to live their lives as if there are a million tomorrows, and as if the ones who love them will always surround them, be there for them, care for them. But sometimes reality takes a bold step forward into their lives, and the pain-free innocence of childhood disappears. This can be very scary for the child and for the family. It is very hard to watch children struggle with their emotions, to watch their worlds be shattered and fall apart. I think this is one of the places that we feel the most helpless. Uncertainty is the starting point for most parents and caregivers. They are afraid of doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing. They worry about their explanations. They worry if they should allow the children to attend the viewing, the funeral. On top of their own grief, their fears and concerns for their children loom large. One thing I have found to be most helpful with adults is to remind them that they know their child better than anyone. I encourage them to trust their own instincts with their child. Yes, we can offer suggestions, ideas, and some knowledge, but they will be attending to their child from a place of love, and because of that, I think it is good to reassure them that they will do no harm. So if you are an adult who is caring for a child who has experienced the death of an important person in their life, know that the love that you give them will outlast the pain in their hearts. Trust your ability to love them. So let's take a few minutes to talk about infants. Often, when I am with a family after a loss, when they describe their family and who they feel will be in need of grief support, I often hear something like this. We have a 4-month-old grandchild, but he is too young to know what is going on. Infants are often overlooked. Obviously, they do not know that there has been a death of an individual, but infants do sense change, and they tend to absorb the emotions of others around them. Babies are perceptive and sensitive, especially to the feelings of their adults. They can be hypersensitive to the feel of their environment, whether it's a sense of excitement, sadness, or anxiety. They sense the presence of new people, the energy of different people coming in and out of the home. They sense their parents or caregivers being gone at odd times, which is again a disruption in the routine. They are sensitive to altered nursing patterns. Knowing that the infant might sense the changes in the environment, remain aware of any variations in the baby's behavior, such as intensified crying, changes in eating, sleeping, and toilet habits, or a sense of general crankiness or being unsettled. So how do we help these little ones? The most helpful yet difficult things for adults to do in the days following a death is to stick to the routine that the baby knows. The difficulty is there is planning to do, possibly a viewing, a funeral, and these are the things that disrupt the familiar routine. If the child is unusually cranky, find a quiet spot with maybe some soft music to rock the baby. Quite honestly, that is something that might be beneficial to both the baby and the adult. As much as possible, return to the familiar routine as you are able. Allow the loving hands of family and friends to care for the infant as well. This is a time for an abundance of hugs and bushels of love for both you and your infant. Now, when we consider children who are between the ages of 2 to 6 years old, we know that children at this age typically do not understand that death is inevitable. They do not understand death as finality. They believe that they themselves will never die. They may see death as a punishment for bad behavior because they have very cause and effect thinking. Children in this age group believe that death is reversible, and for this reason it may appear as if the death has not affected them. I knew a little 5-year-old who, 2 days after the funeral, ran up to her mother and said, "Mommy, we have to go up to the hospital right now." "Why, honey?" "Because we have to tell the doctors to fix Daddy so he can come home." She was insistent that everything could be reversed by going to the hospital. The hallmark of the young is magical thinking. Magical thinking is an attempt by a child to draw conclusions about his or her world. Do you remember? Well, some of you may remember, "Don't step on a crack or you'll break your mother's back." So we would straddle all the cracks as we walked through town. Their magical thinking will inform you what they are concerned about. Magical thinking does not completely disappear. It reoccurs when stressed or in crisis. As adults, we sometimes call this bargaining. A child might say, "I wish you were dead," to a parent or a sibling. Children will say that in anger sometimes, but then, if something tragic happens, the child assumes responsibility for the death because of the words they said or thoughts they held. This is why it is so important that children understand why the person died. They may feel responsible for the death. Some of the common reactions that children in this age group feel are feeling abandoned, feeling lonely. There can be a possible regression in behaviors, and sometimes there is confusion about the death, and they have a need to keep asking questions to help them understand. So how do we help these children? Keep in mind that when we say Grandpa died because he was old, is a relative statement to a little one. For example, a few years ago, my 4-year-old granddaughter was asking me how old I would be on my birthday. I said to her, "How old do you think I'll be?" She looked at me with big, beautiful, clear blue eyes and said, quite seriously, 100? "No, I'm not that old. Try again," I said. She looked at me very seriously again and said, 10? So I laughed and said, "How about somewhere in the middle of that?" So to a 4-year-old, 100 is definitely old, but so is 10. It is important to offer simple explanations. Only answer the question. As they want and need to know more, they will ask you. You may find that they repeat the same question over and over. Continue to answer them in the same way. Consistent repetition of the facts helps them understand. Maintaining routines is very important. This fosters a sense of stability for the child whose world has been shaken. Notifying school personnel allows those who care for the child during the day be aware of any particular struggles or changes that they may see, and they can share with you. Children need to know why you are sad, why others are sad, why they are sad. They need to know that crying is okay, feeling bad inside is okay, and being mad is okay. And they also need to know that laughter is okay. If you have a child who has experienced the death of a very important person in their life, consider joining our Neighborhood Kids program, a family-based grief support program for children ages 5 to 19. The program is designed to help children and their adults answer the question posed so beautifully by Fred Rogers: what do you do with the sad that you feel? Our program includes the use of art therapy, music, and pet therapy dogs, offering a warm and welcoming place for families to begin their healing journey. Thank you for listening. Our team of grief support professionals works to inform, support, and guide patients and families through the grief process. If you or someone you know is in need of support, please contact us at griefsupport@excelahealth.org. That's GRIEFSUPPORT at EXCELAHEALTH.org. You may also use this email address to write in any questions or comments that you would like to share about your grief journey. We offer grief support programs year-round that you may join. Also, consider joining our Excela Health Grief Support Group page on Facebook. Connect with us so that we may connect with you. And please remember, this is a journey. You can do this, and we are always, always here to help you. Thank you, and take care.